Welcome back. This is segment 2 of our episode, You Got the NASA Grant, Now What? With project manager Drew Price. This segment uses video to explain some details. While you'll get a lot out of just listening, you'll get the most if you're able to follow along on YouTube. When we left off, I asked Drew for a step-by-step of what to do after you receive the grant funding.
Okay. So a team first applies for the grant, they get the grant. When they come back to the website, they'll actually now have different menu items. They have surveys and they have a supporting documents menu item. These two are only shown to teams that are awarded, and they help you complete those requirements. Again, the requirements are right down here. We have the ones that are required to be completed prior to the season kickoff, and then we have ones that are completed after that team's individual season is over. So the first thing that they probably want to do is click the surveys. This is a unique URL, and this whole thing needs to be copied and sent to the students. And this basically is tying it so that no one has to log in, and we know exactly which team it's associated with. When you look on the website, it'll show you here's the deadline and then the status of the entrance survey between January and middle of February. Neither of them will be open. But once the first weekend of competition is over, this will turn to open. It'll be green. And then you could start submitting surveys for the requirements. This URL will be the same URL that you use for both entrance and exit surveys. It automatically will load the right page depending on which page. And so if I go into here, this is what it looks like. Because I am logged into the account on this tab, it won't let me submit it. So that's just so that the mentor doesn't come in and go through and put in a bunch of fake ones. The way that you can tell how many students have submitted the survey is just click the view submitted surveys link.
Okay.
It'll show you the names of the students that are doing it. And that will show that if you click on it for the exit survey, it'll show the ones for the exit survey. So it is independent. It'll tell you if there are none that are completed. I just put in my name and everything, how many years I've been doing this. I want to be a teacher. I didn't know that. And I am aware of, or I'm not aware of NASA's participation. So I click submit. It says that your survey was submitted. You can print them, doesn't matter, whatever. Now I'm just going to change one or two things. Now that I have 5 applications submitted, this turns green and it's satisfied.
Okay.
That's how you know when that requirement is met. And it
Okay.
will do the exact same thing for the exit survey once it gets to that time period. If teams do not submit by July 1st to 2026, at some point, we're going to change the system over. And it becomes a much more difficult process to complete the applications. It will be a PDF form, and you're going to have to scan them and do all that. It's much harder. It's a lot easier just to do it while the system is open. Like I said earlier, I think the best way of getting the students to do it is when you have a captive audience and they're in front of you. It's really easy.
Yeah, and you could make a QR code from that URL, and they could just scan it.
That'd be cool if we were able to share a QR code.
Yeah.
Maybe version 4.
Hey,
Yeah,
put my name somewhere on there as a creative. No, I'm
exactly.
kidding.
Special thanks.
No, I think it's super easy to make QR codes. If you are a NASA grant team, go to this page and have it at the kickoff so that you can let your students do it then. Because there are some teams that are not meeting, like they haven't actually met yet. So they might not have gone through this process yet, but we have the mentors at the kickoff most of the time, especially of the rookies.
I think this is going to be one of the new priorities that we're going to have is, hey, generate a QR code, scan this code on my computer
Yeah.
and go do it.
Yeah, yeah, or they could even pull it up on their phone for those people that don't have their laptops with them. I think that's a great, not to toot my own horn there, but I think that's a great
Oh,
idea.
I think it is. I think it makes it a lot easier for them. My suggestion is usually to test it out. Open up a new tab,
Sure.
paste it in there. Does it still show?
Yeah,
If I delete half of this, it's going to say the survey is closed. That's how you know that it's the wrong one, at least. And
gotcha.
that's how I usually know when people were like, "Hey, it says the survey is closed. It's open."
Yeah,
You didn't actually copy the whole thing. The
yeah.
very rare situation that happens is sometimes when you load this page, it won't actually have anything beyond this portion, and all you have to do is refresh the page.
Oh, okay. The next step.
There's 2 steps that you have to complete prior to the kickoff. The entrance survey is the number one most important thing. The next one is in supporting documents. We used to require the educational institutional support letter. If you hover over these, it will just explain what they are.
Okay.
And this is basically a letter saying that the person that's the educational entity, they are in support of you applying for the grant.
Okay.
That's really what we're looking for. And you can choose your file. If I just click the educational support letter, I click upload. It tells you that it's uploaded successfully and then it's pending. You can view it, you can update it. If for some reason you upload the wrong document and we haven't said, hey, you sent the wrong document yet, you
Mhm.
can click update and it will go back to this point and you could upload it again. After someone at NASA, whether it's me or someone else, will approve it or will reject it. If it's
Okay.
rejected, it will say rejected and it will force you to upload again. Very rarely do teams run into that situation. It's a pretty simple yes or no. Does this institutional support the team or not?
Mhm.
And then when you refresh the page, it will say it's approved. And then you have nothing else to do. You can click it and view it whenever you want. It's same thing for the annual reports. Uh, Annual reports typically 2 to 10 pages. The one restriction that our system has, and it says that it's a 2 megabyte maximum file size.
Mm.
We can't change that. We wish we could because I know there's a lot of teams out there that put really good annual reports together that shows us pictures of the team, the events and stuff like that. Pictures add a lot of file size really quickly. And so
Sure.
most of the teams at this point, they just submit us an essay, with no pictures, no nothing. Sometimes it's on letterhead.
Okay. So I have two questions on this section. One of them is in the small print, the pop up, does it give you example verbiage of what this letter has to say?
Okay, so they don't. They just describe what it is. This email letter must originate from the educational institution. It
Mm.
must endorse the team's desire to apply for funding, confirm that. So this one does actually say if a team is out there and they just literally copy and paste this information, we endorse the team's desire to apply. We confirm that are committed to the team and we agree to the conditions. That technically meets the requirements.
And then it does say educational institution. So if they're a community team, what would be the equivalent of that?
So community teams, sometimes they used to, at least in the past, they go to a library or some kind of group like that where they pair up and that's their educational institution. At this point, most teams just form a nonprofit.
Okay, so if the team has created a 501(c)(3), then they can write the letter from their board president or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
And that's how a lot of the teams that are community teams that aren't associated with the school do it. Sometimes they pair up with a school just because they
Mhm.
maybe think it's easier. And even though it's not really officially a school team, the school does support it because they have 10 students on the team.
Yeah.
There's definitely situations like that out there. On the homepage, it really does say exactly what this statement is required. I've seen teams where they just copy and paste this and it's from that board member or 501c or from the school principal.
Okay.
It meets the requirements. We like to see a little bit more effort put into things, but
Sure.
we also don't want to not allow the team to compete.
Okay.
We want teams to compete. We want teams to get the requirements done.
Yeah. Okay. So if a team does want to put some effort into it and show off what they did all year, if you have a link in the letter, does it decline it?
No, it just makes sure it's a PDF. But I don't want teams to be submitting nothing but a PDF with a link in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So it would have to be like supporting photos.
If there's an essay that was submitted that says, hey, this is what we did this year. If you want to see, our video highlight, here's a
Yeah.
link, something like that. That would be perfect. But if it is nothing but just a link, we'll probably reject it because
Got it.
we want to be able to go back and look at it because we keep this data for a minimum of 8 years.
Wow.
I actually have this data going all the way back to 2008. I don't have to rely on some website or YouTube not changing. We have that data as long as we're willing to continue storing it. All it takes is one mentor to leave and they're like, oh, I don't care about this data anymore. And then they delete it because their Google Drive
Ah,
or OneDrive or Apple, storage is full
yeah.
and then information is lost. And so when we have a PDF, at least we could look back and we're like, well, we can't see the video that this team might have sent to us, but we at least know what they did.
Yeah, and this is great information that the team should just track anyway. A lot of the sponsors say 2007 was the very first Bayou Regional. Well, we want to know, what did the impact of that event look like from that time? How many
Mhm.
teams grew out of just the fact that the event was actually there? Was there an economic impact growth?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that this type of data that they're keeping, they could
Mhm.
use elsewhere too.
I
Yeah.
would show them, hey, here's what we did last year. Here's all the events we went to. Here's all the number of impressions our videos had across online. If
Mm.
your logo was right there, you would get extra impressions. People would be excited. And we've talked before, I think one of the biggest benefits that sponsors have is access to the students and understanding which students might fit their program better.
Mhm.
I've I've had hundreds of interns over the years, both ones that competed in educational robotics and ones that were just
Yeah.
smart kids to begin with and that weren't involved in this program. And I've always said it and I will always say it, the students that came through FRC have the ability to problem solve better than the students that I've given high school seniors transitioning from high school to college. I've given them the same tasks that I've given PhD students, and the PhD students have brought back nothing before, where they're like, this is just impossible. Whereas the FRC student at least brought back, hey, I don't know if any of this will work, but I will try. This is the
Huh.
stuff that I think might work. And just that problem solving outside the box thinking is so vital. And so, you have a sponsor there that they're like, I could sponsor this team. I could have one of my engineers or a couple of my engineers donate time and help out this team. And we could pick up a really great intern this summer. The engineer mentor that is working with that student has months of experience working with this student or these students, and they know whether these students fit that corporate mentality or that
Sure.
style that they work.
I know David Fava from 364, he also says that if you want to know who the best leader is in your current employees, send them to work with the First Robotics Competition team. You'll know if they're good leaders or not, just
Yeah,
based on how they interact with the students and how they work with the students. So it can kind of work both ways.
it could.
Okay, so let's go back to, we were at the surveys.
Mhm.
We went through that, and then we went through the letter.
Okay.
What would be next?
Compete.
Compete.
Yeah. The only requirements that we have that are required before the season begins is the educational institutional sponsor letter and the entrance survey. After that, get to building your robot if the season's begun. If the season hasn't begun yet, start looking at different resources that are out there. We have on our Robotics Alliance website, we have a list of FRC resources that we think are valuable.
Thanks for staying with us for segment 2. Join us again for segment 3. We'll go back to audio only in this third and last segment, so take a break and come back for more advice and important details with Drew Price in segment 3.